Everybody wanted to be the guy in the Lamborghini, but nobody talked about what happens after you buy it. In the 2000s, owning it was the ultimate symbol of success. The Murciélago and Gallardo stood out with their aggressive design, thunderous exhaust notes, and dramatic doors that turned any parking lot into a stage. These cars were built to make statements, not quiet entrances. If you have been with us this far, it honestly means a lot. A simple subscribe from you helps us grow and keep bringing stories like this straight to your screen. It may look small, but to us, it is everything. Okay, moving on. Beneath the glamour, Lamborghini ownership during this era came with a list of challenges that many buyers only discovered after signing the papers. These were machines engineered for performance, not comfort. They were loud, stiff, temperamental, and far from practical. Every trip meant heat soaking through the cabin, rough gear shifts, and a sense that the car wasn't built for everyday use. What made it worse was the technology of the time. These were early attempts at automated manuals, complicated V10 and V12 powertrains, and cooling systems that struggled in normal traffic. A Lamborghini might have looked like the dream car of the decade, but living with one day to day was a very different story. And that gap between image and reality is exactly what made owning a 2000s Lamborghini more of a test than a trophy. One of the first rude awakenings for many Lamborghini owners in the 2000s came from the transmission. The Gallardo's e-gear system looked advanced on paper, a single-clutch automated manual meant to give Formula One-like shifts. In reality, it was as smooth as a shopping cart on gravel. This system was unforgiving in everyday traffic. Stop-and-go driving caused clutch wear to skyrocket, with many owners forced into replacements at shockingly low mileage. A clutch job could easily set you back $8,000 to $15,000, and that was before adding the hydraulic actuator, which loved to quit without notice. The Murciélago's manual gearbox was sturdier, but still came with high service costs and tricky maintenance windows that made even minor issues a full production. And when the clutch decided to bow out, it never sent a polite warning. One moment you were enjoying the V10's roar, the next, the gearbox would refuse to engage, leaving your dream machine stranded like a spoiled celebrity refusing to perform. By the time the bill hit the table, most owners had learned one painful lesson. Lamborghinis of that era didn't just demand fuel, they demanded loyalty backed by a very thick wallet. The Gallardo and Murciélago both relied on compact front-mounted radiators, just enough to cool a 500 to 600 horsepower engine while the car was moving. But when the wheels stopped turning, the entire cooling system leaned on a pair of electric fans that were barely keeping up with the engine's heat output. If one fan failed or even lost power through corroded connectors, temperatures rose quickly. And these engines didn't politely overheat, they skyrocketed. Owners who ignored the signs often watched coolant temperatures climb past normal operating range in minutes, especially during summer traffic. A clogged AC condenser, a weak radiator cap, or a late-opening thermostat could turn a simple drive into an emergency pit stop. The system had almost no buffer. Even something as small as a dirty radiator surface could push it past its limit. Lamborghini never officially recalled the cooling setup because technically nothing was broken. It was just a design that couldn't afford mistakes. The car was built for fast roads, not red lights. For most cars, the cooling fans are just background noise. In a 2000s Lamborghini, they were the only thing standing between you and a boiling V10 or V12. The system was fragile. If a relay failed, a wire corroded, or a connector lost power, the temperature gauge would climb like it had something to prove. And the worst part, it usually happened at the exact moment you could not escape, stuck between traffic lights with zero airflow. Unlike modern cooling systems that have layers of fail-safes, these Lamborghinis depended on a small margin of precision. One weak point, and the whole setup collapsed. Owners often discovered a single dead fan, motor, or a bad connection after an overheating scare, not before. That's how unforgiving it was. The engine didn't give much warning. Once the temperature spiked, you had seconds, not minutes, to shut it down before expensive damage followed. A simple fan failure could lead to warped components, coolant loss, and a repair bill that felt more like a down payment on another car. This was not poor maintenance, this was standard Lamborghini ownership. Every traffic jam came with a little suspense. Owning a Lamborghini in the 2000s wasn't just about fueling up and showing off. It was about praying nothing broke, because if it did, your bank account was in for a beating. Routine service was already eye-watering. Oil changes alone could run over $2,000, and clutch replacements on models like the Gallardo could cost more than an entire used car. And these clutches did not last long. Many owners burned through them in under 20,000 miles, sometimes less if they drove in traffic often. Then came the parts. Many components were hand-built or shared with limited suppliers, which meant waiting weeks, sometimes months, for replacements. And the worst insult, even small issues could spiral into expensive repairs. Electrical gremlins were notorious, especially on early Gallardos, where warning lights lit up like a Christmas tree for no clear reason. To make matters worse, few mechanics could actually work on them properly, so owners were forced to depend on authorized service centers that charged a fortune. Reliability wasn't a gamble, it was a guaranteed bill, and yet people still lined up to buy them. Why? Well, that answer came with a V12 roar and a lot of regret later. Driving a Lamborghini in the 2000s wasn't just a flex, it was a full-time commitment. These cars were never designed with normal daily life in mind. A quick grocery run felt more like a mission. The front trunk could barely fit a backpack, let alone a proper shopping bag. And the ground clearance, if you saw a speed bump, you braced like you were going into battle. Even steep driveways could scrape the underside, and repairs from that alone weren't cheap. Then there was the fuel. These V10 and V12 engines drank petrol like they were competing in a world record chugging contest. Some models averaged less than 10 miles per gallon in city driving. That meant constant refueling, which wasn't just expensive, it was painfully frequent. Add in the tiny fuel tank and you were visiting petrol stations more often than your own kitchen. And let's not forget visibility. Rearward vision was almost non-existent. Parking in tight spaces felt like defusing a bomb with your eyes closed. As daily drivers, these cars were impractical in almost every way. Owning one wasn't about convenience, it was about accepting the chaos that came with the badge. For most people, owning a Lamborghini in the 2000s looked like the ultimate dream. The badge screamed success, the doors lifted like a movie scene, and the engine note could make any street feel like a racetrack. But behind that glamorous picture was a daily reality that many owners quietly hated. Brutal maintenance costs, uncomfortable rides, endless repairs, and fuel bills that could humble a millionaire made it clear. This was a toy, not a car for living with. The truth is, Lamborghini didn't build these machines for comfort or practicality back then. They were built to be loud, wild, and difficult like untamed bulls. And that raw character is exactly why some loved them and why others sold them fast. Many buyers learned the hard way that owning one wasn't just expensive, it was exhausting. Yet that chaos is also what made them unforgettable. They weren't trying to be perfect daily drivers. They were built to make statements. And if you wanted smooth, quiet, and practical, you were shopping in the wrong showroom. Be honest, is Lamborghini truly a driver's dream or just an expensive headache people love to show off? Let's have those points on the comment section. And if you've reached this far, thank you, and hit that subscribe button to help us grow our channel.